Good afternoon. I call to order this regular meeting of the Carrabelle Community Redevelopment Agency. It's Tuesday, January the 19th, 2021. It's 1:33 p.m. We're conducting this meeting in the Carrabelle City Hall chambers, and our meeting will open with a prayer by Commissioner Cal Allen, and then I will lead the Pledge of Allegiance to the flag. So let's stand, please.
Our God and Father in heaven, we're so grateful that we have this opportunity to come together today to talk about the wonderful things, for this wonderful city. We ask you to be with us in all wisdom and understanding that we might accomplish the most best and proper projects. We ask you, Father, also to be with all those in the country that are facing the sickness that's passing around, and those that are tending to come up with a recovery method, be with them and their wisdom. And we ask this in His name. Amen.
Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, welcome everyone. I'm glad to see you here this afternoon. We're going to wear our masks, are required at all times except for when speaking in the microphone. It's a lot easier for everyone to hear. And then please follow your social distancing guidelines. And for those watching on Facebook, if you can't hear us, please send a note to the, write a comment on the Facebook page there, and staff will see that. And if you have comment on any of the other items when we call for discussion, you're welcome to write there as well. So I would ask Ms. Keisha, our clerk, if she would call the roll call for us.
I don't have a microphone, but I'll speak up. We've got Bo May, Sabrina Brown, Cal Allen,
Yes.
Mayor LaPaz,
Yes, here.
Commissioner Millender,
Present.
Commissioner Kelly, and absent we have Commissioner Mathis.
Okay, thank you very much. The next item on the agenda is approval of the November 17th, 2020 minutes. Did everyone have an opportunity to review those minutes?
Motion to approve.
Second.
All right. We have that motion by Commissioner Millender to approve, second by Commissioner Kelly. Is there any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? And that motion carries. All right, the next up on the agenda is the public comment. And this comment time is for anyone to speak about anything that is not on our CRA agenda today. So this is the opportunity to speak up at this time. Does anyone have a comment for us today? And do we have any comments on Facebook that you can see? Okay, thank you. Then we'll move forward to the, yes ma'am?
I have been told that the February 2nd meeting of the County Commission will be an in-person meeting. Mr. Pfeiffer told me that. So that may be reflected in our motion that we made the last meeting. I know it's not CRA, but I wanted to make sure that everybody heard that. So.
Okay, thank you. And that item is not on the agenda, but thank you for your public comment. Okay, and then I will ask for our staff reports. We're moving forward with our CRA Director, Ms. Courtney Dempsey. Thank you.
Last month, we made a motion to proceed with the potential lot cleanup at 204 Southeast Avenue E, and I have an update on that. We have contacted the owner of that property. They have agreed to let us clean the property. We're just waiting on getting a letter authorizing us to go on to their property. They need to send us something so that we're authorized. We do have in some bids that we received, two bids, and low bid was Keisha?
I haven't reviewed them yet.
Okay, we haven't reviewed them yet, but we do have 2 bids in, so that's moving forward, and that's all we're waiting on that project. And I've got some others, but I'll report when they come up on the agenda.
Okay, then you had reported that the Carrabelle Crawl had submitted for
They submitted a
reimbursement.
reimbursement for the $250 that was approved back in, I think that was September.
September, October, or September,
It was September,
yes, or
August.
maybe August, yes,
The
but it's
event was
September.
September the 5th, so it was approved prior to.
Yes, approved in August. And that was just a special approval for that event, $250. And we know we have, now we approve to grant them up to $500 a year for that event. And I checked the grant criteria, and they moving forward, they will need to submit receipts that payment's been made or canceled checks. So, and that hopefully they'll submit that a little sooner than, you know, like within 60 days instead of this long period. But otherwise, I hope that helped them out a little bit. And does anyone have questions for Ms. Courtney? Okay, then thank you very much. All right, we will move forward with the city attorney's report, the CRA attorney.
All right, as kind of a continuing item is the progress on findings of necessity to support the expansion of the CRA boundary. And Russell had followed up with Thurman Roddenberry, so because he's working still on the actual description, and Roddenberry's office is still working on that. And once that's finalized, we'll be able to input the engineering information that we have. Russell's gathered, I believe, most of it relative to stormwater, roads, and just basically infrastructure, because that's what a lot of these findings will be based on for the most part. So we will try to bring all that together once we have the actual boundary outline, because we can't include anything outside of it. So it's still ongoing.
CRA sunsets next year,
Understood.
2022.
Right, I think
Okay.
it's a totally valid comment, given how long it's taken so
Okay.
far. But
All
we
right.
should meet that, no problem, yeah.
Okay, all right, and I did meet with the CPA today, and I told him too that the CRA sunsets next year, but we're working on expansion and extension. Okay. Does anyone have questions or comments for the city attorney regarding CRA business?
Yes,
Please.
Okay.
Mr. Attorney, I just had a question. Do you have a time frame that you can see, or would it be to our benefit to suggest by March 1st or something like that? Would that help you with Mr. Roddenberry?
Mr. Roddenberry is usually very prompt, so I would expect, now that especially he's been getting followed up on, that he would have his done in 30 days or so. Is that
Yeah, I asked them to
move it along? So
get it done.
once that's done, obviously you all want to review the findings of necessity and ask questions and that sort of thing, so that process might take 1 or 2 meetings, but then we should have it complete. So
Okay.
setting a deadline to answer the question,
I just thought maybe
we
it would
could,
help
I mean, we
you.
could just tell Thurman we need it by March 1st. I mean, that's fine, he can be told that.
I would encourage that.
I would go along with that, that would be fine, because it might take us a couple of months to review it, make amendments, and then, how long does the county have to review that?
I have all my notes on that, but I
Okay.
believe it's no more than 30 days.
I think something 2 weeks to 30 days, something like that, so. And then by the time we have a meeting, then after that, you know, we're looking at 4 or 5 months before this could be settled.
Yep.
Okay. After March, okay. All right, thank you very much. Anything else for the city attorney? Okay, then we'll move right forward to the CRA District Landscape and Maintenance Report, and I see Mr. Messer is here with us.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Pretty much just trying to keep it, clean and stuff, trash and all picked up. because I know, starting March, I'll start fertilizing and, you know, killing weeds and grass mowing and getting ready for a busy spring, summer.
Okay. Does anyone have questions for Mr. Messer today? Okay, I do.
Okay.
I've got a short list.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, I would like to know what day of the week do you pick up debris and litter?
Every day that I work. I mean, I work, I think I worked 15 days this month. And that ain't counting, now that's picking up debris and litter. Now, I pick up every day. If I'm riding downtown and I see it, I'll stop and pick it up. But I don't have a certain day that
I really would like to see, for sure, debris and litter picked up on Monday, as, you know, after the weekends, after we have our heavy tourists and people at the restaurants and the nightclubs. You know, we have a lot of debris and litter on the
plastic
streets.
cups and all. Yes,
Yeah,
ma'am.
beer bottles and what have you, and if it's not done on Monday, then it, you know, it kind of drags out through the week. And so then, what day of the week are the gutters and the sidewalks blown free? When do you blow the debris out of the gutters and
Different
sidewalks?
days.
Okay.
I mean, there's no set day.
Okay.
I mean, because a lot of times I shovel the sand instead of blow it. Because if I blow it, it just comes right back on, so I've been shoveling it, putting my truck and hauling it off.
All right. So I'm going to ask you then, I'm going through the different items that are in our specifications. Then,
Yes, ma'am.
what day of the week are you maintaining the landscape beds?
When I'm doing all of it, I mean, I just randomly do all of it.
Okay. The Welcome Park right there as you're coming in from Carrabelle.
By BP.
Right.
Yes, ma'am.
When is that going to be weeded and trimmed back? When are you going to be able to get to that park?
I trimmed the, talking about rose bushes and all that, I trimmed on, just a second. On the 23rd, I trimmed the rose bushes, on the 23rd of December.
All right.
And the plants, the trees that was growing in the palmettos that me and you talked about, they're gone. I trimmed them. The palmettos, I trimmed them.
Okay, that was my next question, like the wild palm trees that are growing out in the landscape beds. So, I mean, they're still there.
The wild palms?
Well, whatever they are, I don't know if they're.
You're talking about the
palmettos.
little,
There's a big one now, it's getting really big right there at the corner of 6th and 98, right there. in
that
the
bank?
That's got to go. That's going to grow where you're not going to be able to get that out of there.
When I just trimmed it,
Okay.
I didn't know if, I trimmed it within a month. But if you want me to take it out, I'll take it out.
Yes, whatever it takes to, and then there's also some growing up in the Veterans Park as well, and if they're not, you know, managed, then they're gonna be like, you know, if they grow up, they get
Oh, yeah.
harder to manage. Okay.
But you know, on the if you're looking at Veterans Park, it would be on the right-hand side. There's like 3 or 4. Now, them's palm trees, you want them out?
Well, they weren't originally, a lot of them are growing within the landscape bushes, and they weren't, you know, they grow in wild, they just grow wild like a weed, and they weren't put in with the landscape, and if they're not maintained and kept out, like weeded out, then they're gonna be, you know, disrupting the landscape.
Well, I had no problem taking them out, but I thought they were part of.
Well,
And that's, you know, because they're in the bed.
sometime we'll meet over there. But
Okay.
I don't think that palm trees were, I mean, little baby palms were planted amongst our landscape, the professional landscaped bushes.
Well, we'll meet, because I'm seeing something totally different. I'm looking at palm trees.
And I know that there were some, but we don't need to belabor this here. Then the sidewalk on the corner of Tallahassee and Avenue A that goes up the hill, I go by there and I look at that, and I know when we first went around with Courtney, you know, I pointed that out, that sidewalk really needed to be cleaned and maintained, and I go by about once a week and I just never see that sidewalk clean.
Avenue A, I'm trying to see where that is. Is that by Mike Mock's house?
Yes, his
Where the
little
sand
vacation.
was?
Where he has his little vacation house there.
Right.
And then, I know that you went and you blew pine straw back off of the boardwalk there at the 12th Street Pier, but the growth is hanging over into the sidewalk, the concrete sidewalk, you know, it's hanging over and into it and over it, and, you know, I'm just wondering when you'll be able to get to that, to trim that back.
I will take care of it this week.
And then you did trim some of the growth back at the river's edge at the 4th Street boat ramp, but that still, you know, that still needs to be, you know, trimmed back down, like that photo that I showed you the day that we awarded bids.
Right, the day we rode around.
And then there's a landscape bed on the south side of Avenue C. That's Avenue C and Marine Street, and that needs to be cleaned up and maintained. If we need to purchase mulch or whatever needs to be done there, as well as that. I know you said you sprayed weed killer on the lot that we have with the parking on the corner of Avenue C and the south corner of Avenue C and Marine Street, and that's still.
Across where the truck's parked?
Yes.
Where you,
that you're talking about the post office truck.
I think that's what it is.
Yeah.
It was parked there, yes,
And
ma'am.
sometimes that post office truck is there, and I think he sleeps there during the day or something.
Well, I'll spray it, let me spray it again before we put mulch on it. That way, you know, we ain't defeating the purpose of it just growing right through it, and, you know.
Okay.
So I'll go ahead and spray that this week, and maybe it'll, you know, then put mulch on it, we'll put mulch on it.
All right, so everyone here knows I'm real particular about the CRA maintenance. And they know I have done this before. And I have gone out and taken pictures, like time-lapse pictures, and brought them in when we had some other folks maintaining the CRA district. I could go out there and take a lot of pictures, but I'm only gonna bring 2 forward today. A picture taken on December the 12th, on December the 29th, and a picture I took this morning. But I will tell you that I walked this same area the weekend after we awarded bids, and this debris pile was here. And I was trying to give the benefit of the doubt, so I checked on it, and I come back on December the 29th, and I decided I would take a photo, and then I went back today, and I'll pass this around. I think probably Mr. Bo May knows, you know where.
I come through here.
Yeah, and then I'll let you pass it around if you take a look. So, I mean,
Well, if you wanna just start over there.
I really want to see the sidewalks where our visitors and our citizens are walking in the CRA district. I really want to see the CRA district maintained almost like a resort. And I mean, if we can't, then we need to go back to the drawing board and see what we can do.
The other side of Highway 98 in Tallahassee Street has not been touched. The corner.
Where's that?
In terms of landscape.
Where's that at, over by the, Chamber of Commerce?
Highway 67 and Highway 98.
right?
Tallahassee Street and Highway 98.
You talking about over in front of the Carrabelle thing?
I'm talking about the corners of Highway 98
I
and
just,
Tallahassee Street.
And don't feel targeted. Staff knows I've done this before.
no, ma'am.
Okay.
Are you talking about where the lilies are across the road from where your place is?
I'm talking about directly in front of my place and the shop by the sea.
The shop by the sea, I think I just cut grass down for her. I de-weeded that place.
Well, how come you didn't do the place next to it?
I sprayed that place in front of
Spraying
your.
doesn't do it.
Okay. All right, so what we want to do, we want to, I think we want to see a little, improvement. We're into this a few months, I think 3 months now, I'm not sure, but, let's just see if we can see some improvement. I'll pick out another couple of little spots and take some pictures, I've done it before. And then, I'll just watch out and see. And that right there is where people walk on a regular basis, and our tourists walk there as well. And we want, and somebody could, trip and sprain their ankle on that. Okay?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, and I thank you very much for coming to see us, and I'll look forward to seeing you next week. Yes, Ms. Kelly, Commissioner Kelly?
Mr. Messer, I was here the day the bid was awarded
Yes, ma'am.
to you. And my question to you now, after 3 months, can you tell me what surprises you found in the contract expectations?
The biggest thing I found was, what hadn't been done, that's took a while to get done, is cutting back, plants, trees, that I just, everywhere in the whole CRA district hadn't been touched in a long time. And that's taken a while, and then I've been, like I say, I haven't been blowing everything. I've been, and it takes a while. You shovel every bit of the sand off the 98 and in front of the post office and places like that. And I've been hauling it off. This week I was in front of the barber shop. Jackie and them shoveled that. Now I know I got to go back and blow it after I shovel it, but I got to get the main, because it's a lot of dirt there.
Are you keeping track of hours that you are spending so that you have an idea how many you really need, for example, in a week to do the job that I know you want to do?
No, ma'am, I haven't, but
May I suggest that
okay.
because that kind of a log comes in very helpful when it's necessary.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you.
And that was my last question. How many hours a week are you logging in the CRA district? But I just didn't want to ask it, but you do need to keep track.
I will do that.
If you know you're going to come here and have to, answer questions like I have.
Yes, ma'am.
And I'll be watching. And we know that that's why we put this position out for bid, was because it wasn't being worked. And we know, and I realize, try to give you some benefit of the doubt after 3 months, and we'll look forward to seeing, some improvement here and there.
Right, I mean, because if people, there's some don't think I've been doing nothing. I've got photos myself where I've got truckloads that I've hauled off.
And I have seen you out there with some dump truck fulls.
I mean, so it ain't that I ain't working,
Okay.
It's just having to catch up. I mean, once I get caught up, I can maintain it. It's just getting it caught up.
Well, we appreciate it, but just do more.
Yes, ma'am. Yes,
Thank you.
Or if we could just see one landscape bed that looks improved, just one. Okay,
Veterans Park.
okay. I'll go over there and take a look.
Look at the one by the fountain, because it had briars, it had everything in it, and I de-weeded that whole thing.
Okay,
So,
all right, thank you very much.
Thank you.
yes, ma'am.
Okay, and don't feel obligated.
Veterans Park looks nice.
Thank you, sir.
Don't feel obligated to have to stay through this whole meeting.
Right. Yes, ma'am.
Okay, all right.
I might go to work.
All right, thank you, bye-bye.
Y'all have a good.
Okay, here we go. New business. Is anything else regarding landscaping before I go to new business? Okay, new business. Item 1, make sure I'm on the right page. Building facade and site improvement grant application review for Seacrest Real Estate at 314 St. James Avenue, Carrabelle, Florida. Discussion and possible action. No. This is for Seacrest. Are you recusing yourself?
My brother's one of the contractors.
Okay, all right.
Good afternoon.
Hello, nice to see you. What's your name?
Thank you for having me, Janelyn Dowden.
Okay, thank you.
Janelyn, turn your mic a little bit, please. Thank you.
Okay, can you hear me now?
Mhm.
Okay, I'm proposing to, I know you don't do signs anymore, but I'm getting a new sign.
Very nice.
Big sign. In my bid, I'm asking for landscaping of removing the old sign and the flower bed box that's there. Gonna paint the building, of course pressure wash before painting. I have to replace 4 bay windows, and these windows were hand-built in there. They're not like store-bought windows, and they're rotting around the edges, so in order to replace them, it's only 4 bay windows, but I'm replacing them with 8 regular windows. They won't be like the bay windows, and 1 window won't fit in that hole, so I have to have 2.
Mhm.
So, and then my front door needs to be replaced, and permitting equipment and the dumpster for the materials.
Okay, and you've submitted, did everyone, Courtney circulated her bid package, or application, I should say, it's not a bid package, circulated Seacrest application for a building facade grant from the CRA. Did everyone have an opportunity to review this? Does anyone have questions?
Madam Mayor?
Yes, ma'am.
Janelyn, I have a question only because you used the expression big sign. Of course, you are planning to conform to the city's sign requirements.
I've already got it approved through the
Okay,
administrator.
just because you said big sign.
It's gonna be a lot bigger than the one I have.
Okay, thank you.
But it won't be like a big billboard. Doesn't look like it.
No, it meets the requirements. It's 10 by 8. Actually, it'll be 15 foot high and 8 feet wide.
Okay,
But the sign is actually 5 feet by 8.
all right.
Thank you.
Gonna be that blue color that you held up? That's pretty.
Thank
All
you.
right. Well, I thank you very much for submitting. Do we, do we have any other questions?
I'll make a motion to approve.
Okay, we have a motion to approve by Commissioner Millender.
I'll second.
Okay. And a second by Commissioner Allen. Do we have any other discussion? Do you know what the time frame is on this one?
My sign is about 2 weeks out. And as soon as this is approved, I'll start removal of the old sign. And I'm anticipating maybe 4 weeks the job will be completed. Depending on the windows, we have to order them and when they get in. And
All right, well, very good. I'm glad to see this approved and, well, we haven't voted yet, but that you're here and that we're working on these CRA grants once again. They were suspended for a couple of years. We were putting money in other areas, but.
Janelyn, can you bring pictures to the next meeting or when your project is complete so that we can all go ooh-ah and admire it for you?
yes.
Thank you.
Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, then that motion carries. And
Thank you.
All right, we appreciate it. Okay, then, still finding my notes here. Under new business, we have item 2, the building facade and site improvement grant application review for Shop by the Sea at 104 St. James Avenue, Carrabelle, Florida. Discussion and possible action. And would you come forward and state your name and tell us about your project, please?
Good afternoon.
I'm Vicki Harris. My husband Gordon and I have had Shop by the Sea, which is the store right next to the world's smallest police station, and Beaumay is our neighbor. We've had that business in Carrabelle for 8 years. We would like to replace 2 front windows, a side door, and a front door. The front windows are single pane, and when it rains inside and out. The side door and the front door are both wood rotted, as is most of the soffit around the exterior of our building. So we would like to replace those. It takes about 6 or 8 weeks to have the windows ordered before the project could begin. Also, we would like to request funding for the trimming out the front windows and the doors. We do want hurricane-proof windows and possibly storm shutters for the 2 front windows. Again, we have not had any damage with the storms that we have had, but I feel like it's been by the grace of God, because every time a semi goes down 98, all of our windows shake, rattle, and roll. So we feel like we've handled that hemorrhage the best we can for as long as we have. One of the cost estimates includes putting a dumpster on the side of our building so that all the demolition and the debris can be taken off-site as soon as possible. I think I'm stopped.
Okay.
Is there anything
Well,
else?
I will say that you have submitted you've written down some items that don't meet the criteria. I don't know.
Yes,
if Ms.
ma'am.
Moore- So that, you can qualify for up to $16,000 on a $20,000 project. So
Yes, ma'am.
that's it. It doesn't matter, what you want. You can
Certainly.
have what you want out of,
I understand that completely.
Okay. And I see you have GNR Construction.
Yes, ma'am.
And Storm Construction. Now, I'm just going to go ahead and say that there's been some political and government watchdogs that are closely following Storm Construction.
Yes, ma'am.
And regarding their address for their business location and affiliates. And there have been postings on Facebook and emails circulated on this topic regarding Storm Construction, contracting with government agencies. And I have talked to the city attorney about this, and the CRA board and staff, we offer the building facade grant program in good faith to assist commercial and residential property owners with removal of blight and to help upgrade their properties. And we want to improve and enhance the CRA district. But we're not here to be, for staff to become the target of public mudslinging or accusations in an effort to worsen the city's public image. And we've got people that are concerned about Storm Construction that I have had emails sent to me from people that we know are public watchdogs, and I just don't. You've got 2 good bids here, and on page 8 of our CRA Building Facade Grant Program Plan, it includes the entry number 4. Approval of grant awards shall be determined by the CRA Director and CRA Board at their absolute discretion. Parentheses, not all applications may be approved even if funds are available. Close parentheses. I think you have an excellent project. I would like to see it go forward. So I did ask the attorney if we could have a motion with conditions. And he said yes, reluctantly. But I will make a motion for approval of this facade grant application at 104 St. James with the conditions that GNR Construction is used for this project. So I have made a motion. Is there a second? Yes.
I have comment first, Mayor.
Well, there's a
You
motion.
need a second, I second for discussion.
Okay, all right, we have a motion by Mayor LaPaz, second by Commissioner Kelly. Yes, sir.
Okay, my discussion was, I was gonna second your motion, but I'm not sure that we as a board and a governmental entity, and Mr. Attorney's looking at me, and I hope he is, I want him to weigh in on this. If we can legitimately or legally name who the contractor is going to be.
We have talked about this both at the staff level as well as to different commissioners, including the mayor. And the reason for my reluctance is that certainly it's discretionary and we can put conditions on it. The concern, as I understand it, is that Storm uses an address here in town that is a vacant building, which is just doesn't sit right with folks.
And I have some of those same concerns. That's the reason why I was gonna second the mayor's motion. I agree with what things she was saying.
And
Right.
And I like the idea of this lady and her husband trying to, I'm in favor of her project. I'm just concerned about naming a specific contractor.
well, I'm trying to not have to bring things up, but, I mean, if I have to, I can show you emails where
This
I don't,
is, sorry, let me
you know,
interrupt,
I
just so
don't-
we're
I don't want to get into it.
Right.
sort of
I don't
clear
wanna
is-
I'm not disagreeing with you either.
Okay,
we don't regulate contractors as a
Yes.
city, other than they have to have a city business license. But it's not, it's DBPR that does the licensing for contractors. And we do get into dangerous water if we start picking and choosing contractors that are validly licensed through the state and we direct business one direction or another. That's the cautionary piece of it. So, but 100% agree that saying that your principal place of business is a vacant building that's been vacant for 50 years
Yeah.
doesn't exactly inspire, looks fun.
And again, I'm not questioning that at all. My only question is us singling out a contractor. I mean, I'm not disagreeing with anything that you're saying or the mayor's saying. That's the only question I had, is us naming a specific contractor.
May I ask a question?
Mhm.
Since you said you had two bids, and I apologize because I'm the newbie here. Since you had two bids, is the point of the recommendation to avoid the second bidder?
I just don't want to see the city drug through the mud. That's it. I don't want any of the people on this board, any of the staff to have to suffer repercussions.
And I don't disagree with you.
Okay.
I do agree with you.
I'm sorry, I have a feeling there's a whole lot more here than
Yes.
I learned. Thank you. I would like to thank you for your 8 years of commitment to the city. You have a darling shop. I'm sorry the windows rattle when the semis go by. We try to get them to go out on Lake Morality Road, but I know that unfortunately they do come. I did have another question, if we can
Okay.
get off maybe it isn't a different subject. I have a dumpster question. I'm concerned with the last project and this project when they talk about dumpsters alongside the building. It's my question that can we require those dumpsters to be shielded or fenced so that they are not accessible to the public or not visible to the public? Because we know that the project could go on more than a week or two, and it would be nice if there were some way to at least shield those dumpsters from the public site.
Well, we don't have that in the
I know,
grant
I'm just
requirements.
asking, I'm
Yeah,
just
and that's
asking.
something that we could consider, but it's not in the grant. Yes, ma'am.
If I'm allowed to speak,
Yes, please do.
I contacted every contractor that was on the list. The highlight, there were only 3 that responded. And the third one didn't know where to get windows.
So you eliminated him, right?
Yes.
Yes,
But
good.
it's not, it's been very labor intensive.
Sure.
I attempted this a few years ago and had to give up. And this time I said, I had paid my dues.
Thank you for trying.
But I did. I called each and every one of them that were on the list, and it's pitiful. It's absolutely pitiful. Yes, sir.
Can you, would you prefer GNR? I don't know, I don't have a copy of the bids. So if you said I want to use GNR and that's my bid, that's what I want, would we approve it?
That's up to the, I've made a motion, that's up to y'all whether, how you vote.
I'm very reluctant. Within 30 days, his price increased tremendously from December to January.
Well, wood has gone up terrible.
Yes.
Mhm.
Tremendously.
Mhm.
Well, how much wood are you using? I don't have
I
any bids.
don't, even the wood wasn't the question. I mean, it was
It just-
across the board. It
Yeah.
raised probably 25%.
Okay.
So where are you now? What,
I would like to use Storm, if that's possible. And I think, is he calling in today that you know of? Okay.
So do we want to have a vote? Are we ready for a vote, or is there further discussion?
I guess I have a concern then that you prefer a different contractor. As I said, I'm out in left field here, so I don't understand some of what's been discussed.
At this moment, if the only way it is approved is if I use GNR, then yes, I will use GNR. Mainly because it's very labor intensive and it's not easy to communicate with the contractors that we have available to us at this time.
All right, are we ready for, I'm gonna call for a vote. And vote your heart, vote however you want to feel. So I have that motion by Mayor LaPaz, second by Commissioner Kelly. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
Aye.
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 Okay, so we have 1, 2, 3, 4 opposed, and,
I didn't vote yet.
oh.
If you don't vote, you get assumed as an aye, so.
Well, I didn't, it happened so fast and I wasn't sure. The motion is,
The motion,
she did.
can we do that? Can we do that?
You're
Hold
asking
on,
for
I'm-
clarification.
He wants to know what the motion was.
Okay, for
clarification.
clarification, the motion is for approval of the facade grant application at 104 St. James Avenue with the conditions that GNR Construction is used for this project.
I'm gonna vote aye.
You're in favor of that motion?
Yes.
Okay. And then Commissioner Allen is in favor of that motion. I am in favor of that motion. Okay. And Ms. Sabrina, you oppose that motion? You oppose that motion? No.
Mayor, you voted yes?
I voted in favor of the motion.
Oh, I had to pronounce.
Okay. And then Ms. Mel Kelly?
I voted against.
Okay.
I think you have a tie.
Okay. All right. We have a tie.
So the motion does fail.
That's, okay, so let's have another motion.
The only thing I'm hesitant of is Dan's looking at me and he knows, if I think he knows what I'm thinking, is that same question, Dan. I mean,
And we've had many discussions about this. One thing that the city can do, we've had, without naming names, we've had some bad experiences with
Exactly.
contractors in the past, and you can essentially exclude them from the running. That is not necessarily what we have here, right? We have not had experience with the storm. There's just concerns, and they've been voiced on Facebook and all these other things that have brought forth information. To my knowledge, strictly the principal office is the problem, is whether or not they are a Franklin County based business, right, that they claim to be because they're using a vacant building for that.
Dan, do they own that vacant building?
Yes. Well, I
That's
say that.
unclear also.
Probably-
Don't-
I
There
mean,
may be
if
some
they own it,
common ownership.
that's their option, I guess.
It's
It's,
not,
It's registered under cleanup Carrabelle, so I don't
yeah,
know who
are
owns
they
that.
leasing it or with the approval of the owner? There's, I mean, I can keep talking, but the people use many times different, like for instance, my office address in Tallahassee I'm a registered agent, and it's the principal place of business for a lot of businesses, right? Different ones for clients and that sort of thing. So it's not unusual that people have simply a storefront, a UPS box, that sort of thing. It's a little unusual when it's vacant.
And that there's no windows, no doors, no lights.
Yeah, that is unusual, but
No motor car.
that is, I would normally say that is DBPR's job to determine whether that qualifies as a principal place of business for one of their licensees. It's really not our place. And I can answer questions, but the thing that gives me heartburn is the appearance. We're sort of in a pickle here, is to direct business to a contractor would not be appropriate for the CRA board to do necessarily, like to have a favorite person that gets people in trouble. And then at the same time, giving or encouraging someone to play fast and loose with the rules isn't good either.
I can understand where, someone might think that, since I made this motion, that I'm playing favoritism to GNR. I don't know GNR.
I didn't take it that way.
No, but I mean the
Yeah.
public, I'm
Yeah.
talking about in
Yeah.
the public eye, because what is under scrutiny here,
Well, I do understand exactly what you're doing without going into any further detail.
but under scrutiny, it's under
Yeah.
strict scrutiny by the public. All of this, and it can spiral out of control, so, yes, sir.
Should I ask another question? And we're talking about things that we're seeing on Facebook through the public and what have you. And I'm not trying to defend any contractor, I'm just trying to talk logically. Am I wrong in what I've been told that this contractor is currently in contract with Franklin County Board of Commissioners under 2 major projects?
Is this store you're talking
Storm, I have been told that.
Yeah. I understand that they're building a new road department facility for the county and a restroom facility on St. George Island for the county. Now, I'm not trying to, again, I'm trying to legitimize them, but that's a government entity that sounds like they're in business with here in our county. And I assume that they're using that same address. Again, I'm not trying to defend them, I'm just trying to think about what we have.
And the requirement that we're all referring to is it says contractors must be from Carrabelle or Franklin County unless the service is not available locally and the CRA approves the contractor. So that's the,
I would argue with that, I'm sorry. That's really sloppy wording in my book. It should say they should be registered or have a domicile or have something, not from Franklin County. I don't like that wording at all. I would move approval of this project with the allowance that the property owner choose the contractor?
Okay, we have that motion by Commissioner Kelly, approval of project with allowance that the property owner choose the contractor. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
Okay, is there any discussion?
It's not clear to me what's going on here.
Okay,
I want Vicki to have her windows.
I do too.
I do agree.
I'm
I
excited.
don't know GNR because I don't have any, I don't know who it is. I don't know storm construction. I just know what I feel going around in the room. And it makes it difficult to approve, go with, let her choose if we have a reason for that not to be the case. If the
Well,
CRA board
maybe-
is going to continually have this conflict with storm construction, I'm not going to be one to push that forward.
Hey, maybe if Ms. Harris chooses, if she's allowed to choose, which they generally are allowed to choose, maybe, you know, with that motion, maybe it won't be viewed that the government agency or the CRA board is supporting.
I mean, I know good and well myself how hard it is to find construction suppliers in the city necessary. I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, go ahead, finish, Mr.
I've done numerous construction projects in town, and it is a difficult thing to find someone that does work at either what price you want or what consideration of circumstances, degree of difficulty.
Or timing?
Or license,
Timing.
license, even have a license.
There's, but, gosh, there's a certain pressure here that I don't really quite understand the importance of, but it's hanging us up on several things, so.
Yes, sir.
Okay. I don't think I'm out of line.
Now, we have a motion, so we're in discussion.
Understand.
Okay.
Right. And just to comment on what we're doing here. I know we have a motion and a second, and we're going to vote. But a couple things. One thing is, we encourage, and I think it's pretty well countywide, we encourage our people that are applying for grants in this particular situation, in all situations, to utilize local contractors, to give local contractors and businesses opportunity for the work. We encourage that. This grant's only going to pay a certain amount. This grant only goes to a certain $16,000, I think that's what it is. And when they come in with their grant, and if they've got X number of contractors that have bid on the project, and the owner or the grant applicant wants to pay or hire the highest bid, that's up to them. They're only gonna get $16,000 on the grant. So they can decide on the contractor if they want to go with the highest or lowest. And that pretty much spells it out, and that keeps, we're not selecting the contractor, the property owner is to follow. I mean, that just goes in line with what you were saying, Mr. Bud. So, anyway, that's just comments I had to say.
Is there someone who checks the state license? For example, Dan knows that they have a vacant place here, but are we required to have them submit their state license number or something as part of the grant?
Yes, what we've done is that they are a licensed contractor in the state of Florida and have a principal address in Franklin County, and they meet both those criteria on paper.
Thank you.
I was mostly with the storm thing. It was just the like pretending that that's an office is silly. You know, I mean, should have better sense than that. It's to list your place of business is a vacant building for, everybody knows it's vacant. It's not a place of business. So get a post office box or do something besides stand up and go, this is an empty building, but it's my place of business. You bozos ought to not even fall for that.
Ms. Harris, did you have a question about that location at all, that they identified?
No, and I wouldn't either if I wanted. I mean, I'm on the verge of needing the same thing. My windows rattle. They're all almost 100 years old, single pane. I'm not sure I could find somebody in Carrabelle who would get a lift running around outside my building on the front for a month and a half and tear out all my windows and would have a crane running around the front of, I mean, and it might cost me $30,000, but I would know I would only get $16,000 back. And so I agree that if nobody local can do the work, then somebody who's licensed from somewhere should be able to do the work.
Now, I will remind you that in November, we had a Façade grant application, and that application was tabled because we had a local contractor versus Storm Construction, and at that time, Storm Construction, their articles of incorporation, were registered in Atlanta or Roswell, Georgia, and they had no place of business in Florida. And within a few days or a week, they had contacted Courtney and they had re-registered their primary place of business at 309 Marine Street, which is where we know that is.
I didn't feel, yeah.
So,
May I
Go
say
for it,
something?
Nikki.
yes,
Yeah.
ma'am.
Okay. Dollars for dollars. $28,000 versus $42,000. A gift of $16,000 from the CRA district is a win-win. But it doesn't take long to do the math.
I understand that.
Is the DRNA bid the high one?
GNR.
GRNA?
Yes,
Yes, that's the higher one.
yes, sir.
Oh, okay. I won't say no more.
All right, so is there any further discussion? Okay, the motion by Commissioner Kelly is approval of the project with allowance of the property owner to choose the contractor. And that motion was seconded by Commissioner Allen. And all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? And I do. Okay, so that's La Paz opposes.
I'm sorry.
Don't be sorry, everything is good. Because Ms. Harris is gonna get her project, which is really what we want.
Thank you
And
very
I
much.
thank y'all, I thank y'all very much.
And please do remember about the dumpster.
Absolutely.
Thank you. Whatever you can manage.
Yeah. Her dumpster would be placed between, we haven't discussed it.
She said along the side of her building.
It would be between her building and
Chinaberry tree.
the
Oh, Lord.
Chinaberry tree be gone a long time, honey. I got rid of that.
I know, I was trying to show you how old I was.
And it would be in their parking spot.
Hear, hear.
And I don't think,
I think this is the two elders here, y'all quit
won't
arguing
be there
amongst
too long.
yourselves.
We're the only gray hair.
Mine's colored, so you can't tell how old I am. And you don't even have any.
He's got a little there. And it's gray.
It is.
All right, calm down. We got another one here, under old business. And this was the one that I just referred to that was here in November. And it's a building facade and site improvement grant application review for Ms. Karen Brown at 206 Marine Street in Carrabelle, Florida. And we'll have discussion and possible action, and thank you for coming today, taking off work and coming over. And, yes,
And I need to recuse myself.
okay.
One more time.
Relations in a small community, you can't get away from that. So, you want to tell us about your project again, since Commissioner Kelly wasn't on board in November?
Yes, ma'am. And Commissioner Kelly, you know my building, it's the old pharmacy building. And what we'd like to do is remove and replace our front entrance door and install a new door with new hardware, install a water line on the side of the building to run to the front of the building, because we're going to put in cypress flower beds in the front, so we need access to water. We presently do not have water on the exterior of our building. We're going to remove and install 4 new high-impact windows upstairs. Those will be in black frame. We'll be painting the building white and do all black frame, and downstairs we will trim out all of the existing windows in black as well. We'll remove the existing hurricane shutters. 3 of those shutters are stuck in position and they aren't open. So we'll be using high-impact glass, so we will not need the shutters. We're going to remove the old sign 2x4s. We've already taken down the old pharmacy sign, but we'll remove those old 2x4s and repair the stucco and finish off the front of the building. Pressure wash and paint the awning. We're going to add electricity to the front of the building and put gooseneck lights that are very similar to the street lights now down Marine Street on the top of the building. And we're planning to install 3 lights. And we'll pressure wash the entire building, and like I said, we're going to paint it all in white and trim out in black.
Okay, thank you very much, and thank you for resubmitting. Ms. Brown had submitted, and then it was learned that one of the contractors wouldn't qualify because they weren't from the area, not even Florida, and now they have changed their address. And then the other contractor was too busy to take on the work, so you have gone out and researched and Galloway Construction you bring in now versus your Storm Construction, which, you know, I don't want to go into it again. But now I will say, and Mr. Hartman has seen it, that I've got an email here from Mr. Alan Pfeiffer, and we all know Mr. Alan Pfeiffer, that was sent to me. He was asking me questions about storm construction and the relationship. It refers to, you know, I don't want to really have to get into it here. But I didn't answer it because that was from October the 28th, and at that time I didn't know that you would be submitting an application, and I didn't feel like I had any concern. I didn't know anything about it. But then when we got November the 17th, I remembered that I had this information, and even pictures were sent along with it to me. But I promise you I did not reply because I didn't want to get involved with that. So, but now I have. But there was a reference made to Storm Construction website, and I said, well, let me look at it. And on November the 17th is when I looked at it in the morning before our CRA project. And they were actually already showing on their website, which it makes reference to in here, that there was a Carrabelle CRA grant renovation for 206 Marine Street coming soon. So somehow they had already, Storm Construction on their website had already known or assumed they were getting the project. I don't know. And then it was still up on their website on December the 12th. I took, you know, screenshots. Still on their website on January the 12th, and still on their website yesterday, January the 18th. So, you know, I want you to, I've told you before, I really want your project to go through. I like the paint color that you've chosen. I like the, I know that you need new windows. I like your proposal for your decorative lights. It's gonna make it look nice. There's no need for me to make a motion similar that I did before, because there's a potential that it would fail. I don't want to make a motion that will fail, but I will leave that up to others to motion however they wish. So that's pretty much all I have to say on that one.
I'll make a motion to approve the application.
I'll second.
Okay, approve. Commissioner Melander, approved by Commissioner Melander, second by Commissioner Allen. Okay, is there any discussion?
Karen, what are the costs of the two estimates?
Galloway construction cost is $22,496. Storm construction is $20,815.
Okay.
Okay, is there any other discussion? All right, all in favor?
Aye.
And so all are in favor and I oppose.
Thank
All
you
right, and that
very much.
motion
I'm sure
carries.
it'll be very nice, and we will look forward to seeing the pharmacy reborn,
Old
differently.
pharmacy.
Reborn.
Thank you all very much.
All right, congratulations.
Thank you.
Okay. All right. All right, now we'll move forward with the Novia Consulting Group, their projects that they have going on. Mr. Russell Large,
Thank you.
thank you.
On the Marine Street project, that application, there were actually 4 commercial revitalization applications submitted to the state, and Carrabelle was ranked 4th out of those 4 applications. We have not been notified of funding yet. I understand that it's supposed to take place by the 21st of January, so I think by the end of this week we should hear something about funding. So in other words, there may be money available to fund all 4 projects still. And that's the report we have on Marine Street.
Okay, very good. We've got some money set aside if they don't approve, and we'll start working on some projects that's the money set aside for. Does anyone have questions for Mr. Russell?
Does that include the arch?
It does. The arch is included as a additive alternate.
So if they approve all 4, the arch would be included?
Yes.
Yeah. I'll keep my fingers crossed.
I guess technically the 5th Street and Avenue A is a commission project, but just to give you an update that milled asphalt material was placed late yesterday, and I was pretty pleased with how that turned out. Very pleased.
All right, thank you.
That,
Go back and check.
that's a very nice looking, long overdue project. The one down around the park.
The park or Dollar General is, I think, where Russell was talking about.
Then that's not the one down that continues across,
Right, I was referring to the one north of 98, but you're referring to the one south of 98.
south of 98.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, just to drive through that now, the way they got it graded and stuff, you can see like, wow, this is really nice.
Yeah, that's not a CRA project, but FDOT granted the funds to the city of Carrabelle, $950,000, was that?
Right.
It looks like $1 million.
They're wanting a sidewalk over there now. If they
Wow.
were in the CRA, we could consider that. All right, well, I thank y'all very much.
Yours attaches above that, I mean, the one.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
Anything else for Mr. Russell?
Thank you, sir.
Okay, thank you for coming. All right, then we'll move forward to CRA board projects. Discussion and possible action regarding CRA 2021 budget reallocation. And I did for you all a little expense to budget report here. I used Miranda's year-to-date of her December 22nd year-to-date report that she provided us with. And I just made you a little expense to budget showing your actual budget, your year-to-date income, which basically for now is the money that rolled over as was shown in our account on October the 1st, the first day of the fiscal year. And then our outstanding income is the payment from the city of Carrabelle, which usually comes in this month, the end of the month, and then the payment from Franklin County, and then we'll transfer funds from the general fund, usually in the spring or early summer. But you can see, we are not spending, you know, I don't know if the, I don't, the CRA, the Florida Statute Part 3, 163, Florida Statute 163, Part 3, requires that monies be spent. They can't be rolled over unless they're committed to a 3-year project. And I, you know, we're 3 months into the year. We have no mural projects proposed. I know of one possibly. So, you know, I don't know, you know, we may need to take a look at another project here that we can take on during this year. We haven't done any maintenance and repair. You know, if y'all see anything out there that you think that really needs to be done, we can take on the project under, are we going to, the maintenance and, what is going to fund the code enforcement? Was that maintenance and repair?
Lot cleanup under capital projects.
Okay, thank you, I couldn't remember. Lot cleanup?
It says street sign / lot cleanup.
Okay. Well, and will that be sufficient, do you think, Ms. Keisha?
Yes.
Okay. And then there would still be more if we needed to replace some street signs? Okay. All right, in the event. And then we got decorations. You see what, y'all got 6 decorations for that price, $2,354. Now, Courtney did have a good suggestion to go ahead and try to get some more poles equipped where we could put more decorations next year. We could.
The plug up there. So that all, you know, when you ride through town now, you have 3 or 4 decorations, and then a spot that don't have any, and a few more. But if we could go ahead and get some of the receptacles put up, then because we have, since we replaced 6 decorations, now we have 6 extra decorations.
So now some of those could be retired and used elsewhere in the city, some of the older ones. Under maintenance and repair, we could, if the board agrees, we could ask staff to contact Duke Energy and equip some more poles for decorations. And we could see how it goes in the next budget year, or order some more decorations if we need to. Because we like to keep them rotated, you know, order a few each year, because as you can see, they're not cheap. So we like to
And the new ones
do that.
made the old ones look so much worse, because the new ones look so good.
They really did.
And you, thank you for doing that, Courtney. She ordered those.
And I told the mayor, but I think I told Courtney too, I thought the city hall decorations for Christmas were really very attractive. Thank you.
Can I ask Courtney a question? Real quick? That socket that's hanging on the pole on the corner there, Tallahassee.
The one you emailed me about?
Yeah.
He went out that day. That same day when I got your email, I sent him out there, and he went out there.
And tacked it back on the pole. Yeah, I thought it had this. I just want to make sure. The wind hadn't blown that hard again, so I didn't know if it was like, thank you.
I'll mention on the quick action emergency grant, that, you know, we keep watching to see if our state of emergency is going to end or sunset. And then on the grant, we have that, sunsetting 30 days after the state of emergency ends. But on December the 29th, Governor DeSantis signed another executive order, 2020-316, and that extends the original state of emergency grant again for another 60 days. So we're in that. Commissioner Kelly, that quick action emergency grant offers business owners within the CRA district. I think we had talked about this back when we did this last summer. up to $1,000, but they have to, submit information pretty much like the Façade grant, yeah. And we had very few. We had set aside enough money, I think $50,000, and it just was not, well received. And even with me, and I don't know if any other board members took applications I took an application to the marathon, they came back. But to the IGA and to moorings, I think they're just so busy that, and maybe they haven't lost any money, maybe they couldn't justify, I don't know. But, and Fisherman's Wife.
We had the moorings, the BP, hairspray, there might have been one more that I can't remember, but I think the moorings did put one in.
And I know I went to Fisherman's Wife and the Carrabelle Junction, the corner, the Carrabelle corner, Elsie's, when Elsie's was there. So I went to several, I can't remember them all. But anyway, we still have that available, and the plan that we developed for that says that it would sunset 30 days after the state of emergency ends. So, but anyway, do we want, can Miss Courtney go ahead and try to get some more utility poles equipped to handle some Christmas decorations?
Is there a direction where those poles would be?
I think I would let Courtney and Dustin decide, because they know better than Dustin does, especially he mounts
No, I
them.
wasn't trying to say, I just wondered where your thought would be they'd go best.
Wherever we don't have any.
Hopefully get every other one would be nice, at least.
On Highway 98.
There's some on the other side, 'cause right now we only have decorations on the north side of 98, and nothing on the south side.
And what about Marine
Well,
Street?
Justin and I talked about Marine Street today, and we think that when we just go to replace the street lights would be a good idea,
Be
just to have them
included.
put a receptacle
Yeah.
up there
All right,
while they're
all right.
doing it.
Okay, very
that's
good.
the time.
already, yeah.
Uh-huh. All right, then, well, let's just have a little motion to direct staff to equip some utility poles, find out how much it's gonna be, and then equip, use your discretion. What would you say, up to 5,000, 8,000? Courtney says it's rather expensive to do that.
We priced it one time years ago, but I'll go back and get them to give me a price for that.
And it takes a while to get them to do it,
Yes.
so we need to start now.
And that's another thing with Marine Street, those aren't Duke Energy, we own those, so Duke wouldn't, we'd
Right.
have to hire an electrician to do
Mhm.
I remember, this is going back a ways, I remember being very proud when we got the dolphins on Marine Street.
Did you make the motion?
No, somebody, I'm just asking.
I'll motion
Okay,
for the electrical for the Christmas decorations.
okay, so we have that motion by Ms. Brown.
I'll second.
Okay, second by Commissioner Melander.
You want to put a number on it?
You want to put an amount, 5,000, 8,000?
Up to?
I'd say up to 8,000.
Okay,
Not good, I'll second that.
all righty. Any discussion?
I know last time we talked about maybe doing a new cover on the bench in front of the express lane.
Okay, let's vote on this one.
Oh, sorry.
That's all right. We in training.
One at a time.
All right, so let's see now. We have a motion by Ms. Sabrina Brown to put some, equip some utility poles on 98, maybe even the south side, up to $8,000. And that's second by Commissioner Melander. Is there any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? And that motion carries. Okay, Ms. Brown?
Sorry. In November, we talked about a new cover on the bench in front of the express lane and kind of cleaning up that area a little bit, that we may have some funding for that. Is that still possible?
I think, you know where she's talking about?
Exactly where she's talking about.
And I think we could probably do that with the maintenance and repair. How, on the clock tower, when they come, that's like $500 or $600, right? Okay. All right. So, we could ask Ms. Courtney to get a couple of quotes on that, a couple of written quotes, and bring back, what about that? And bring that back to us next month and let us decide on that. And by then, she might have a good idea on pricing for the utility pole. Do you want to motion to direct her to bring us a quote for that?
Yes,
Okay.
I'll motion for you to please bring us a quote on the cover for the bench in front of First Lady and just cleaning up that little area.
Is that where the turtleways bus stop?
The what?
It would be cute if it did. That's what I'm thinking.
Is that where the Trailways bus
Yeah,
stops?
yeah.
Maybe
There used to
to.
be there, Bo May. So, I'll second her motion.
Okay. Okay, that, to bring, have Ms. Courtney bring a quote back regarding replacing the cover over the bench and the cleanup area in front of the express lane by Ms. Brown, second by Commissioner Melander. Is there any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? And that motion carries. Thank you. All right. And then I had mentioned something last week or last meeting was to rehab the outside of the old Coast Guard building. And did someone mention that we could use boat ramp fees for that? I can't remember. It just came to my mind. Or maybe we could maybe get a quote on that, and CRA can always leverage. You know, CRA joins in with other agencies and other funds. So I'll make a motion to bring us back a quote for the rehab of the outside of the old Coast Guard building, and just bring us back a quote, and then we can look at that and see, maybe we want to refer that to the commission as well to see if we can share in that, those repairs.
I'll second.
Okay.
It does need some TLC.
And that's just the outside of the building. Okay, so that's
Probably be replacing the siding or just painting it or.
like the door, well, whatever
Door,
it needs.
definitely.
The siding is
Yeah.
rotten.
I was gonna say, I didn't really thoroughly inspect it, but the last time I was down there, I was just, well, you can't help, I just looked, I seen it. It needs, I don't know if it all needs replacing, but you can look at it, Courtney, and make a suggestion on it, and I'll go with you or whatever, but, it needs some TLC.
It's, there's a good bit of around the bottom, the siding is rotten, so that's gonna have to be replaced, and paint, pressure wash paint. Can't
I was
remember.
gonna say the word rehab has a pretty big connotation.
But we're not gonna go on the inside of it right now.
Right.
We're just gonna stay on the outside. And it's, anyway, we're in discussion. That was by La Paz and then second by Melander. We used to have JD Construction who did things like that for us at a good price. He rehabbed the restrooms out at Patton Park and did a beautiful job for $2,000. I mean, it was really great, inside and out. But he's gone away from us, and it's hard to get contractors.
Is there a dollar amount you wanna put on that item?
Well, she's gonna bring us back a quote, and then we can decide from there. All right, okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, that motion carries.
Madam Mayor,
Yes, ma'am.
could we please discuss item 2 on the agenda before we get into these new issues?
Yes, we can. And we do have, sidewalk repairs are budgeted in our budget under capital projects. And we'll move forward. We can put this item, I'll motion to table item 1 temporarily, and we'll come back to that after we discuss item 2. Do we have a second? Okay. That motion is to table item 1 while we move to item 2 by LaPaz, second by Commissioner Brown. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Okay, and that motion carries. All right, item 2, discussion and possible action regarding repair of sidewalk on Southeast Avenue A.
I didn't get that second.
LaPaz Brown.
What's the plan to deal with that sidewalk, check it out?
That's a good question.
Are we talking about in front of Elsie's?
I beg your
Are
pardon?
we talking about in front of
Yes,
Elsie's?
ma'am.
After the last meeting, I contacted the owner, Mr. Clark Linkenberg, and we presented him with the opportunity that he could get a facade grant to kind of take the trees out. But he did not want to do that. He said that he would take the trees out himself, and he would pay to have those removed, and as if the city would put the sidewalk in. So what I did was I had got Dustin go out and mark the trees that needed to be removed, and he is working on getting someone to take them trees out.
Fantastic. Now, if I can,
Mhm.
is he gonna take the trees and the stumps out?
Yes, that's what we discussed.
Because the
he
stump's
needs-
what's gonna be
Right,
important
that's
to
what's
us.
pushing up the sidewalk.
Yeah.
So that, you know, we had the 13,000 in here for, and we discussed last month about, you know, the cost of the sidewalk and to remove the trees, but we're not gonna need to hopefully, we're not gonna need to remove the trees, that he's gonna go ahead and get that taken care of.
And I think I have that, if you'll just give me a second here, I'll look. I think I have that quote for that sidewalk. Yes. Sidewalk by the cafe, $4,200, and a 10-foot piece of curb in front of the cafe, $1,000. It's $5,200 for the labor and materials for the sidewalk there.
I'll make a motion that we proceed with replacing that sidewalk immediately after the trees and stumps are removed.
All right, that's
Second.
Such pretty trees, that we might be able to replant it somewhere.
Yeah.
I think there's about 3 of them right there. that
Yeah,
need
they
to
are
come out.
pretty, I hate to see them.
I mean, it's, their original longleaf pine, isn't it?
I would vote to move the sidewalk and
They're rare.
keep the trees and move the sidewalk.
I think so too.
Okay, so we're in discussion, right? We have that
Are we?
motion by Commissioner Melander.
Yeah.
Second by Commissioner Kelly. Yes, I guess we're in discussion then, right?
If we are,
Yeah.
if we are, and it's subject, open to discussion, I would say I prefer.
Well, do you
to-
want to move the sidewalk then?
You know,
No, Russell does.
No, no, it's not a question.
I would say don't trip on the sidewalk and keep the trees.
Right.
Right, well, I'm trying to remember, is there on-street parking right there?
No, I don't
Is
think-
it parallel parking?
Okay, so the sidewalk could go around. We would have to take out some parallel parking.
You would just about eliminate your parking there.
I think the road's fairly narrow right there, and it opens up past there.
It's, and it wouldn't do anything, the trees are so big and the sidewalk is just so,
I know.
it would eventually tear up the new sidewalk if you moved it down there.
Mo has me in his
I'm an
car
old
now.
fuddy-duddy with white hair. You know, what can I say?
I happen to know that there is discussion of heritage trees that will be coming up in the zoning meeting on Thursday. And we in the city take a rather cavalier attitude to cutting down trees when, you know, I certainly don't want it to ruin the sidewalk, but on the other hand, longleaf pines are very difficult to come by.
Well, I don't know what else you could do. You could take up, I mean, it's very dangerous. Here, pass this around. We've all seen those pictures.
Yeah.
Build a bridge
Um,
over the way.
Yeah, that's what I was just thinking something to take that up, put something porous, or Commissioner Allen just said build a bridge over it, a boardwalk over it.
Deck or something.
Yeah, and I have seen that in Tallahassee, around an oak tree.
Yeah.
There's
Right.
Uh-huh.
They preserve their trees.
That's right.
Mhm.
The engineer always likes to talk about building something.
And there's pictures
Well-
on the back side.
Okay, well, just to let you know, we deal with this all the time in Tallahassee. And do our best to, avoid cutting down a decent tree. For a lot of reasons, and some of that's code related, because there's penalty if you cut the tree. So anyway, we have some skill involved where, we put a root barrier. There's some arboricultural mitigation that could be done to save the tree, some root pruning. I mean, there is some things that could be done. I'm not trying to spend money, but if the tree is important to you, there are some options.
Well, we have 13,000 allocated, we might be able to come up with something else. Do you want to give us a scope of, or do we want Mr. Russell to give us a scope of work?
I think that,
But we're in a motion right now. I'll tell you what the motion is. Proceed immediately after the trees are removed. But what are we proceeding with? Sidewalk. So we could, we could entertain another motion if we want something, want to look at something different. But yes, I'm aware, Ms. Kelly. Okay, but we do have a motion before us. We'll have to handle that motion first, and then we can have further discussion if we want.
If the board so wants to, I'll withdraw my motion, and we'll get back into discussion. That's easy to do.
I'll withdraw my second.
Okay, so, and you're withdrawing your motion then?
Yes.
Okay, so
We'll
erase
see where
that.
this goes.
Okay.
I think the trees make that little cafe look better. That cafe there without the trees would, I don't know.
Now, like I said, you have me. I love trees.
It's an aesthetic
I do know that right now, the
improvement.
trees are what's tearing up the sidewalk unless Russell can offer a solution to that.
I walk over that sidewalk a lot and I've never tripped on
Well,
it. So I keep the trees. Yeah, figure out if we can.
Would you like to make a motion that you investigate with Russell's options?
I would make a motion that we investigate
I would second it.
Mr. Russell's options.
Would you need more of a, okay, we have a motion and a second by Mr. May and second by Commissioner Kelly. Is that good enough, or do you want
It
to bring
is.
a scope of work?
It is, I should do a task order and bring that to Courtney.
Thank you for making the options available.
So we'll call that a task order.
That's certainly a task. Council.
Okay, so we have a motion by Commissioner May to have Russell bring us a task order for sidewalk options at Avenue A, and then that's second by Commissioner Kelly. And is there any further discussion?
The only thing I'll comment on is Courtney may need to contact the property owner. and see
Yeah, I was
what's
gonna
going
say
on.
that. We leave here today, the trees be gone.
Yeah.
I mean, we've been working on this for a month, so he's made already.
For a long time, yes,
Yeah,
even
nothing
last year.
changed. It's-
All right.
Just one other comment. Is it appropriate that maybe if the trees are not gone today, that maybe you and Mr. Large could go over and talk to the property owner and give him some options that might
He
be...
doesn't live here, but.
No, but I mean, contact him in some way and say, that it came up for discussion from the Tallahassee tree code, and we'd like to preserve the beautiful big trees because one of the commissioners feels the cafe looks much prettier with the trees. Just-
All right, is there any further discussion? Okay, all in favor? Aye. Any opposed? And that motion carries. Okay, we tabled item 1 under CRA board projects. So we've got 2 things on this to get a quote on, or bring back us a quote on rehabbing the outside of the Coast Guard building, which is actually, we're proceeding, and then bring back a quote for the cover on the bench over by the Trailway bus stop and to clean up that area. And then to go ahead and up to $8,000 to, on the utility poles to equip those for Christmas lights. So do you all think we need to do anything right now? That's a good bit of task work on staff. We can discuss this item again at the next CRA board meeting, if you'd like. See what the quotes are. Okay. All right, so that's what we'll do. We'll just have this item again, and that way we can get a better look. I'm gonna ask Miranda, I think it would be better for her to give us, you see this one's back on December the 22nd. I'm using the year-to-date from December the 22nd, which is almost a month ago. And I would like to ask that Miranda do our CRA year-to-date, more closer to our CRA meetings, and then relieve her workload of trying to do all those year-to-dates, the 4 budgets at one sitting. And that, kind of break up the workload for her as well. All right, now we have, here is where we want the board members to bring up any other items that are on their mind. So do the board members have anything that they'd like to bring up that's not on the agenda that we can maybe discuss?
I just have a question.
Okay.
Is the Georgia Motel changed hands?
My understanding is it did.
Say,
I was told it did.
Oh, you think it did? We could.
I was told it did.
Changed ownership.
A person could look on the property
I've
first.
heard it has.
Take a look on the.
I was just curious from the difference in activity that I see going on there.
I believe they come in and change the occupational license over.
It does say open in the windows.
What did they change it to?
It's still the Georgia Motel, but I don't know.
We'll just have it on there for running. Thank you.
I would like to comment, I appreciate, even though I probably won't be here more than once more, I appreciate the year-to-date update in the budget. It makes it much easier to look ahead and plan and have an understanding of what's available, so thank you.
Miranda provides us with a regular QuickBooks year-to-date. I think I have it right here. But for the layman type and for the public's, for better public understanding, a little expense to budget like this is easy. And we get these at the ARPC every month and at the TDC, and I put it together. Once you get the format set up, it's real easy to do.
Thank you.
So. All right. Are there any other CRA board topics that someone wants to talk about that's not on the agenda?
Thank you for letting me talk.
Okay then. Anything else you might like to say at this moment? You'll need to bring your list next month.
I will have a list.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right then, let's adjourn. Do we have
I
a
move
motion?
we adjourn.
Okay, that's a move to adjourn by Commissioner Kelly, second by Commissioner Allen. Any discussion?
February 16th is out our next meeting. Third Tuesday in February. Or 17th.
Make that announcement for us, please, sir.
The second, Commissioner Allen?
Yes, Kelly and Allen.
What's the date of the next meeting?
Bo's gonna tell us here.
I think it's February 16th, I believe.
That's the third Tuesday?
Yes.
February 16th, okay. Next meeting. Any other discussion? All in favor? Any opposed? And that motion carries. Thank you all. Very good meeting.
So, that did change hands.
Okay.
Press stop.